That's it. Yeah, that's it. Be good. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Be good. All right.
Okay.
All right. So shalom, shalom. All right. So keep your seat. Back here another sit down. Right. And first and foremost, I'm gonna start off by saying, I was gonna say Brakatah. Yeah, by outside. You want to give all honor and glory to
Yahweh,
Yahweh, Bahashem,
Bahashem,
Yahweh
Yahweh
Shah,
Shai,
Bahashem,
Bahashem,
Rakakadash.
Rakakadash.
Double honors into the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. And shout out to the whole elect. Start with the 144,000. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, so me and the brother Hadab, you are here with a Revelation 13 breakdown, you know, and through the Spirit, knowing that just going into how, we seeing, how Esau Edom right now at this point, they power has been they've been had the power they have. How about Shasha put them in that position, but now you see like now, they coming out with that great wrath because and we're at the end of this place. We're at the end of this kingdom. And this place is, it has short time, which they know they have short time, but we know for a short period of time, how about Shasha put them in position. Revelation 13, you know, uh Apostle John, he saw like, this place come up, you know, and Lord willing, like I said, we're gonna go into it, bring out a few precepts behind it, the Lord willing is edifying. The brother got anything to say before we
Not really. We can really just, like the brother said, we can just go straight into it, break it down, bring out a few precepts. But one thing to understand is when you're doing with the book of Revelation, right, the Apostle John, right, these are when he was on the island of Patmos, these are things that he saw, right? These are the things that he truly saw, you know what I'm saying, whether it be visions, dreams, so on and so forth, right?
mm-hmm.
But what they did, or what he did, was he described these things the best way he could,
Mm-hmm.
right? He used languages that that he knew, but through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, we through the elders apostles of GMS on down are able to break these things down and understand them as they relate to modern terms, right? As they relate to us, as it is now.
Another quick point too, as the brother mentioned, Apostle John, he was a prisoner on the island of Patmos, I think he was the last disciple left, you know, and when you write it down, he's seeing the rise and fall of this place, the rise and fall all the way down to the microchip, which we're gonna get into, man. You know, and Romans 15:4, things are written aforetime for our learning. You know, though we through patience and comfort, Christians might have hope, merely paraphrasing, right? Hebrews 11:1, hope is the evidence of things not seen, that's faith, right? So we having faith in these things, us not, he wrote them down to the best of his ability at the time, but like brother mentioned, through the spirit, probably how about shall we able to understand and read these things, and understand these things, right? Because remember what the scriptures tell you, you know, overcome him by the blood of the Lamb and word of his testimony, spirit of prophecy is that testimony. So we're gonna be able to overcome him through these things of write these things down and basically us being on that watchtower, being on point for these signs and things that are gonna happen for these prophecies that's gonna come to pass, and showing us that we get closer to our salvation.
So just going to it and read this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Just proving the point. This is Revelation 1:9, right? It says, "I John, who also am your brother and a companion in tribulation." Again, because he's saying he's a companion in tribulation because again he went through persecution as everybody else did, Paul, so on and so forth, right? So this was he was just an exile, right? He was sent here, what I'm saying, by himself, right? He couldn't come back, right? uh Continuing on, it says, "And in the kingdom and patience of Hamashiach Yahushua was in the isle that is called Patmos," like we said, right? It says, "For the word of the Most High and for the testimony of Hamashiach Yahushua," right? And we know that Yahushua comes in what? The spirit of prophecy, right? So
Mm-hmm.
these this again, this is what the book of Revelation is all about. But
So these are Revelation 1.
mm,
You can read down to verse 11.
con
If,
Verse 10, it says, I was in the spirit on the Lord's day, and heard behind me a great voice, as of a trumpet, saying,
And
I am
it's in red, so you know this is Yahweh Shai, those speaking to him, right? But
Con. 11, it says, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. And what thou seest, write in the book.
and that's the point I wanted. What thou seest, right in the book, right? Once again, Romans 15:4. These are things that's going to, Yahweh Shai. He told the prophets, not only just John though, you know, and plenty of prophets wrote things down, and most times it's, for example, like Isaiah 13. At the time, Isaiah didn't understand, Isaiah didn't understand that Isaiah 13 was talking about Babylon today, because he was in the time he writing this, he was in the Neo-Babylonian Empire. But these things are written for times that they did. Now, another point showing you through the spirit and power of Habashah, reincarnation. Those prophets are still here today, just, able to break these things down correctly and fully, right? Able to give you the 100% truth, right? It's going to allow you to be able to, have a chance to overcome this beast, just overcome this devil, right? Because for so long they've hid the truth, right? They hid these things, they hid the knowledge and understanding how about Shah. They hid all things so that they can deceive everybody and trick everybody. But now we have the book. Remember, how Shah opened the seals for us. Revelation was that 5? If I'm mistaken.
I think so. This
Is
is,
it 5? Open the seal thereof. But
mm-hmm.
yeah, Khan, right? He opened it. He got Khan. He opened the seals for us,
Well,
right?
let me read Revelation 6 and 1, 2.
Khan. So, but understand ultimately that Yahweh shall open the seals for us, right? So now we have the true understanding, 100% knowledge of this book that the prophets and things that such wrote down for us to understand it. But that's really the I finish it off because there's a point I want to make. But it says, and send into the 7 churches which are in Asia, Ephesus, right, and Smyrna, and Pergamos, and Thyatira, and Sardis, and Philadelphia, and Laodicea. If I'm not mistaken, the church of Ephesus is where Paul was at in
Yeah, it's
Tim.
Ephesus. That's the
Yeah,
Ephesians.
Ephesus. Yeah, Kai, what is that? Kai, Ephesians 1 and verse 1. Paul, an apostle of Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, by the will of power to the saints which are at Ephesus, and to the faithful in Mashiach Yahweh Shai. So you see these things, these are right. These things are written down for the children of Israel,
Because
right?
who are the saints?
Khan,
Israelites.
the saint. What is that? Psalms 140,
149 or 148.
148, or I usually get 147, 148 mixed up.
I do too.
Khan.
I do it every time.
But these are written for the Israelites to understand, to get this knowledge and understanding, so that this is our true history. It's 140. It's either 148 or 147.
Kind one four, I think it's 149 too, singing the songs praise and congregation of saints. But this is Psalms 149, 148. If it, damn Satan, but I don't want to swipe over. All right. Book of Psalms, chapter 148, and I click 149 again. And verse 13, it says, let them praise the name of the Lord, which is Yahweh. It says, for his name is alone is excellent. His glory is above the heaven and earth. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye the Lord.
Khan. So the people, the children of Israel are the saints. And these things is written for our learning once again. So that now we have our true history. Now we have our true knowledge. Now we have our true heritage, which Esau tried to steal from us, right? So, Lord willing, with that, we can. You want me to read it, or you want to read it?
Sure, I can.
Khan.
So this is Revelation 13, and starting at 1. It says, I stood upon the sand of the sea
Mm-hmm.
and saw a beast rise up out of the sea,
Mm-hmm.
having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
Khan. So it says, he said, and I saw the beast rise up out of the sea. You could grab the Revelation 17. I want to say is that
This
15.
is uh
We're gonna show you what that sea, who that sea is. Yes, sir.
This is Revelation 17 and 15.
Mm-hmm.
It says, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are
Mhm.
peoples and multitudes and nations and
So
tongues.
this sea is the people. So he saw this beast rise up out of the people, right? So it says, and who is this beast? You know, NATO and EU, right?
Kind of the beast is NATO. You know, the 10 horse represent EU.
Khan, right? And so this, so it says that having seven heads, right? So you have the Greeks, which which the Esau, started their empire in the Greeks. You got the Romans, you got the French, you got the Spanish, Germain the Major, Germain the Minor, and Great Britain, right? So those are the seven heads, right? Then you have the 10 horns, which is the EU, right? The European nations, right? The European Union, it's like it, right? And which is used to be known as the EEC, right? European Economic Community, if I'm not mistaken, what it is, EEC, right? So these are seven Edomite empires, right? That create that forms the NATO, that conglomeration, right? And that's rising up above the people, rising up on the people, which America comes out of that, right? America comes out of that European nation comes out of Europe, right? Which they're carrying America on their backs, man. Right? So they see that this beast comes out of the people, and this beast is, it tops all the people. Everybody got America got everybody in this allure, everybody in the in the love with the lifestyle of America. It rules over all the people of the earth. Right? If I used to Revelation,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I want to say there's oh yeah, verse 18. You can read verse 18.
Kind what 17, 18?
Mm-hmm.
Kind it's Revelation 17, 18. It says, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city.
Talking about America, Babylon, right?
Kind because like the elder Ramla was saying, when you go into the city, right, you're a citizen of what, America. So America
Mm-hmm.
is really just a city. A citizen is somebody who is in a city. So it's really just America's one big city,
God.
right? But continuing on, it says, which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
So America has that allure. It reigned over the kings of the earth. We understand Yahweh Shah put them in that position, but they have that, right? They have that power over the world, man. Right? So and then upon his heads of name of blasphemy, right? That's the line, the foolishness of them telling everybody, changing the images of Yahweh Shah, telling everybody they're the Israelites, changing all the ordinance, right? They're enemy to Yahweh Shah. Adversary mean enemy. They're totally opposite of Yahweh Shah. Right.
Another point, another precept going into what you were saying about how America is sitting on these other nations,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is again Revelation 17 and 9, right? It says, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The seven heads are seven mountains on which the woman sitteth, right? And the seven mountains meaning what? Like governments or kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
And they said which the woman sitteth. That woman is that great whore, which is America. So America, she sits on these nations, right? She rides the coattails of the nations.
Con, you gotta understand, Esau was blessed with the fatness of the world. He was blessed with that, And as we're gonna get into, right, we can continue to read down. But later we're gonna get into and showing you how, you know, further on down, we continue to read, you're gonna see how, they came in through the Greeks, right? And
Which the
but
first
really
one.
when Rome was established, that's when they really got that power, that really that in Daniel 7, right? That's when they really got that power, that they came different, right? They came different, you know. And Lord willing, we'll get into it as we read, right?
So Revelation 13 and 2, it says, and the beast which I saw
Mm-hmm.
was like unto a leopard,
Mm-hmm.
and his feet were as the feet of a bear,
Mm-hmm.
and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
So you can go to Daniel 7.
Mhm.
So he says, in the beast, which I saw like into a leopard, and that leopard is the Greeks, right? Because as we mentioned before, the Greeks came into power. It's like Esau came into power through the Greeks. And First Maccabees, it tells you about it, right? When they came into the world, evils multiplied into the earth, beginning with Alexander the Great, right? Then you had I want to say Antiochus Epiphanes. I'm mistaken, that's his name. He one who came in. That's one who I think that's the name of the he was a Grecian. He came in. He was Hellenizing all the people. Let me,
I think it's Epiphanes.
uh,
Antiochus Epiphanes.
Antiochus Epiphanes, right?
I think
He's
it's
the one who came in and was
Epiphanes.
Hellenizing all the Israelites. Everybody, right? Mainly Israelites. Turning them, you know,
Kind. First Maccabees 1:10.
Mm-hmm.
It says, and they came out of them a wicked root,
Con.
Antiochus surnamed Epiphanes, son of
Mm-hmm.
Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the
And he
Greeks.
came in Hellenizing all the people, making the he. For just put it like this, we supposed to be circumcised. He made it into the where circumcision was weird. He got circumcision. He weird.
That's in this. You want me to read it?
Go ahead. Go ahead. You can read
Kind
it.
of. So just continuing on, right? Just showing how the brother was saying, man, this is where a lot of wickedness began to come out of, right? So this is First Maccabees 1, and continuing on verse 11, and I'll read down to 15 for your point.
God.
Right? It says in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, "Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do ordinances after the ordinances of the heathen." So again, you had Israelites who wanted to do after the ways of the Greeks, and that goes into the Hellenization, right? That
Mm-hmm.
goes into Israelites becoming like Greece, right? Becoming Gentiles essentially,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like you said, that king, right, which is Antiochus, he gave them license to do after them. He gave them,
Mm-hmm.
um, um, you know, permission to be like them, be wicked, right? And getting to the brother's point, right? Verse 14 it says, "Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and
That
made
Jim.
Khan," which is, they used to exercise naked, right?
God.
Verse
Weird.
15, that's what I'm saying. It's
Wow.
weird, right? Verse 15 it says, "And made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief." Go ahead.
God. So oh yeah, you got circumcision. You can't be in this, and you can't do that. So in order to fit in with the norm, they went and basically was putting the skin back on their joint. And we understand it spiritually. And what is that? Romans 2. It says circumcision following the law. Uncircumcision, right, is breaking the law. That's why how about y'all shall say take away this uncircumcised heart, right? Take it away, because Jake fell into the ways of these other people, right? It is time the Greeks, right, when the Esau comes into power, deceiving the whole world, you know. But this is a quick point right here. This is called JewishHistory.org, right? And it says the Hellenists, right? It says about the years 200 BCE, there arose among the Jewish people a group called Misyavinim, right? It says, meaning Hellenists who adopted Greek culture as a way of life to such a degree that almost invariably they gave up their Jewish culture and identity. For instance, the Greeks were great believers in nudity. Their sports were done in the nude. Their bathhouses were attended in nude. In the ancient world, the Jews and some Arabs were the only people who were circumcised. This, if you wanted to be a good Greek, you were embarrassed to go to the bathhouse or participate in sports. Consequently, Hellenized Jews underwent painful operations at that time with minimal uh, anesthetics to restore their foreskin and appear Greek, man. Right? So going back to Revelations 2 real fast, it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. Because this is when Esau Edom comes into power, right? Through the leopard, which is the Greeks, right? And you can just if you got something, you can bring that as well.
I was also going into the Hellenists, or the Hellenese. So I read this it's in the King James Bible Dictionary, right? Greek, it says, only found in the New Testament, where a distinction is observed between Greek and Grecian.
Mm-hmm.
The former, a Greek by race, which is it says it's in Acts 16, 1 and 3, and in Acts 18 and 7, and then Romans 1 and 14, it says, or a Gentile as opposed to a Jew, Romans 2 and 9, or 2 and 10, which I would have to go look to make sure that's correct. And it says the latter, meaning properly one who speaks Greek, is a foreign Jew opposed to a home Jew who dwelt in Palestine, right? So it's saying that there is a distinction, right? There's some who are like fleshly Gentiles, and there's some who are um, in the spirit. You could say Gentiles, like Paul said, know ye not that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly what was going on in the times of the Maccabees. But you know, just getting really back to the topic, right? Being
Mm-hmm.
Revelation 13, right? This is what Esau Edom does, man. This is that beast system, right? You have to comply, right? And, that's another part of the, like the brother was just saying, you know, it's an adoption of Greek culture. But it says thinking, it says when a people is conquered, they must take on the customs, language, and religions, right? So you have to do these things, right? You have to take on the ways of you know, the people you were conquered by. And we know Alexander the Great was a conqueror. He conquered, you know what I'm saying, people. So Israel being one of those people, right? They had to be like the Greeks, right?
And he's gonna get into it later in the lesson. How it talks about how you know they have power over the whole world, and it goes into how it was the saints. They got power over the saints, right? Which are the Israelites. Those are the main people. They had us in captivity, oppressing us, things of that such, right? But it says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard," because the Greeks was the beginning of the Esau civilization, right? That's when it was established, right? Like I said, we can read that. Just the point of showing who the Greeks is.
This is Daniel 7:6, right? It says, "After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard,
Mm-hmm.
which had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl, and the beast that had four heads, and dominion was given to it."
Concept. That's going into the Greeks. And those four heads is like basically his four main generals, right?
Hmm.
At that time. But Alexander the Great, Alexander the Freak, the Greek, if you want to call him, came and conquered the known world at that time. As mentioned before, it was the beginning of the Esau civilization, right?
Those four were I don't know. I don't want to pronounce them wrong, but
I said
uh,
Seclus is one of them.
yeah, it was Cassander, Ptolemy, Seculus,
Seclus.
and Lysimachus. Lysimachus,
Yeah,
I don't know if
Khan,
I'm pronouncing it right,
Khan,
but kind
right?
of those four.
Khan, right? And it says his feet were as the feet of a bear, right? That bear represents Russia, and Russia is not a part of the seven, right? Russia is not part of the seven heads, but Russia is going to be the end of this empire. The feet is the end of the body, the end of something, right? So Russia's going to Ezekiel 38. Most High is going to put his spirit on them, and they're going to shoot missile upon this place, right? Because Russia's going to be the end of that Esau civilization, man. They're going to bring an end to it, right?
Hmm.
He said his mouth is the mouth of a lion. He was talking about Great Britain, and we understand that behind the scenes, America still gets orders from Great Britain, right? And it says, "And the dragon and beast is interchangeable because that dragon is going into the Roman Empire,
Hmm.
right? And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority because that's where this beast gets his power from Rome, right? Because when Rome king, right, and Daniel said it was great exceedingly it was fierce. It was diverse from all other kingdoms. Rome came and was very different. It came strong, right? And that's where America and his beast gets its power from.
Okay,
They bring that
talk
point.
about that in Daniel 7 again.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 7, it says, "After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and
Mm-hmm.
strong exceedingly," like the brother was just saying. It
Mm-hmm.
says, "And it had great iron teeth, it devoured and brake in pieces, and stampede the residue of the feet of it, or the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns." Right. So again, like those Romans, they took it further than anybody up to this point. Like when
Mm-hmm.
you go look at old maps, the Roman Empire,
It was
it
big.
completely covered really everything.
Uh,
You know what I'm saying, in the Eastern Hemisphere of the world. You
and
know.
look what America doing now. That's what America on that same type of timing now. They
Hmm.
got military bases everywhere, all type of thing. What you see what even how Trump moving now. They going out the Habakkuk 25. He put unto him all nations, man. They going out to gather the whole world. And then you see how they able to conquer it though, because why? Earth. That's what they were blessed with. That's what Yahweh how I gave them. So that's they were blessed with the fact of the earth and that sword. They should
Hmm.
live by the sword, right?
Okay.
So we
Verse 3.
kind
Okay, so Revelation 13:3, it says, "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death."
and that's the Roman Empire, right? Because the Rome had failed, so you had those 1,000 years, right, where Rome was down. Revelation 25. We necessarily don't gotta go into it. It's not 25. Revelation chapter 20,
Hmm.
right, goes into how those 1,000 years where Esau was bound. It was under Jake, right? And so it was seals over. And what you truly, when you really understand the seals on us right now, we're under those seals, but Esau was down. right? For those 1,000 years. Those 1,000 years was you know, from Esau being down into the Renaissance. That's the first period of those 1,000 years. Until they was after those 1,000 years. Matter of fact, I grab it real fast. I
Okay.
can't read. Oh, if you got a point, you go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was about to say, I can go to it a little bit too. So we know, you know what I'm saying, the ruler Nerva, right? He was a Jake. So Esau had fell out of
Hmm.
power at that point in
He was
time.
the first. They try to say his Constantine, but Nerva was the first
Mm-hmm.
one. Well, I forgot what year he came in.
Kind. It was it's said to be around 30 AD when that's when it became the Holy Roman Empire. But um
Constantine came, when I was thinking, he came who kept the ways of
mhm.
the pagan ways of not for lack of a better word.
Kind. So that 1,000 years, right? When you got the Renaissance period is when, well, which we'll probably get into
Con,
later about that dealer will being healed, right? But that and you know what? I really just save that until we get there, because if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna go
no, that's the
into.
verse. That's the verse we in. Revelation 13:3.
Oh shit! It says
Con,
right
yeah,
next.
con,
So
yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
so. Let me read that part first. Then this
con,
so Revelation 13:3. It says, I'm gonna start from the top. It says, and I saw one of his heads as they were wounded to death.
con. Before you bring it to the Renaissance,
Kind,
can I read
kind.
this real fast? So Revelation 20, we'll read verse 1 through 3, and I'm gonna jump down because when you understand it, verse in Revelation 20, verse 4, 5, and 6, that's talking about bottomless pit is Europe. Because you understand America comes out of Europe. And the bottomless pit because they lack minerals, the resources. Which you see Trump to go out and heap into all the resources right now. He's trying to go get the oil. He's trying to go get those things, right? Europe, they lack those things. And the great chain in his hand, right? That chain is when we held them down. They was under us, right? No, they was a nobody in the world, right? He says, and he laid hold on the dragon, right? Esau Edom, that old serpent. These are names or titles for Esau Edom, which is the devil, right? That old serpent, which is that man had an evil spirit upon him, which came on Cain, which
Mm-hmm.
came on Esau, which came back through Esau,
So Revelation
right?
3,
Khan, right? It says, which is
not
the
Revelation, Genesis
Genesis,
3.
Khan. It says, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, right? So this 1,000 years is talking about from uh Esau falling,
Mm-hmm.
right, to the Renaissance. They was bounded for those. They was bounded, right? They, they,
Thousand
they
years.
couldn't go out and deceive the whole. They couldn't go out and move how they wanted to. It was under Jake, right? There was nobody in the world, right? He says, and cast him to the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him. So it was a seal. They couldn't move. They couldn't do nothing, right? It says that he should deceive the nations no more to the 1,000 years to be fulfilled. After that, he must be loosed a little season, right? And like I say, verse 4, 5, and 6 are going into a different 1,000 years. Right? That's from the sun to the place been destroyed and to us being in the kingdom. But I'm jumping down to verse 7, right? It says, when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, right? And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, right? So loose after those 1,000 years they was bound, which the brother finna get into, right? As I mentioned, when Esau fall, right, to the Renaissance. So they was loose and they came out to see the whole world. They was having uproars coming against the strongholds, right? To a point where people just like, what? They deceiving people, people just gave into it, right? And it says, which are the four quarters of the earth, and Gog and Magog, which is Russia, right, to gather them together in the battle, which is Armageddon, World War III, right? The number of whom was the sand of the sea, right? So you understand they was bound for those 1,000 years, as the brother finna get into, like I mentioned, they was bound for those 1,000, they was bound when they fell into the Renaissance when they came out, and that's when they, forwarded all their polishes their ways back into the world again, right? As the brother gonna get into with the Renaissance. You
Trying to figure out where I really want to start. So that thousand years is really going into the Byzantine Empire, right? We know the Byzantine
mm-hmm,
Empire lasted from, it says, around the, like 390, around the area, CE, which is, AD, which is, current times now, to around the mid 1400s, which is when the Renaissance period starts. So that's a thousand. When you do the math, that's around about 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Give or take maybe 5 to 10 years, right? That's 1,000 years. So and again, you can't get around this truth, man, because it's clear cut, man. History
con,
follows exactly what Yahweh Shem Shai said it was going to, right?
con,
But Byzantine, it means backwards, right? And that's what Esau Edom calls the Dark Ages, because why? Jake ruled, you know what I'm saying? Jake
mm-hmm,
ruled during those Dark Ages. Esau again was bound,
mm-hmm.
right? Um, So let me read. You didn't read 20 and 3, did you?
Yeah, I read it.
Oh, you did read. I'm
Uh,
gonna read it again. This is
uh,
so Revelation 20 and 3. It says, "And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nation till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he should be loose a little season." So we ruled after the Greco-Roman days, right? Though, so you got people who went off right when you got like the Moors, which is really where Islam comes from. So you know how that's again, it's the spirit of Jake over and over. Because when
mhm,
Jake go to prison now, what they come out as Muslims. They want
mhm.
to that's that same spirit coming back over and over and over, right? But getting into the Renaissance, right? The Renaissance, I'm gonna read this. It says,
Quick point in that when you talk about the
"Con,
Moors, which are Israelite,
mm,
and they was ruling in that time, right? Like when Christopher Columbus was trying to come out as well. We ruled in like Spanish Portugal. We ruled in
con,
that. When you see the statues and all those things, that was Jake rulers, man.
Yeah,
But
they ruled in Spain during that time, right?
mhm,
So where was I gonna read? Oh, Khan. Well, let me read this point right here. Right, it says, after conquering Jake, right, the Ottomans brought in their Greek ancient manuscripts and ideologies that helped kickstart the Renaissance. Right, because Constantine, he died in that 1453, right, which was again around the time that the Renaissance started. Right,
mhm,
so the Renaissance was a European cultural movement that spanned from the 14th to the 17th century, marking a rebirth after the Middle Ages, which is what Renaissance means. It means rebirth, right? So this is
mhm,
so why do you need a rebirth if y'all was already in power? No,
mhm.
y'all as an Esau fell out of power, and y'all had to rebirth what y'all once had, which is
The
that
deadly wound.
exactly
Uh,
that Roman Empire, right?
and then
So
another quick point too. Renaissance. I was thinking started in Italy. The Italian word for NATO is reborn, right?
mm,
Rebirth, born,
con
right?
So again, so it's right after those dark ages, that 1,000 years, right? And this is so what did they do? What did they do in the Renaissance? They changed the images. There's a word called iconoclasm, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Icon
Shit, the
that
noses.
means what images, and then clasm means to change. If I'm not mistaken, let me make sure I fact check that.
Took the noses on the statues all the time.
Icon. So the word iconoclasm, it means so icon means image, clasm means faces, right? So that's what they did. They changed the images, right? It means to reject, right, the images of the faces of the judges of Israel. Because when you read the book of Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse, let me see. Oh, chapter 3 and verse 48, it says, "And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likenesses of their images." So that's why, again, if they were in power to begin with, why would they do all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I got a quick point.
kind of,
Just going into how showing that we was in rules, a little history, right? Like I said, Moors was just Israelites who practiced Islam and was ruling in Spain and Portugal.
uh-huh,
This is it says yes, North African Moors ruled in Spain and Portugal, a period known as Al Indulas from 1711 to 1492. They conquered the Iberian Peninsula, impacting its culture, architecture, and science, and leaving a lasting legacy in both the modern Spain and Portugal. The term Moor was used to describe various Muslim population of North African descendants who lived on the peninsula, right? Israelites was ruling and built all those things in Spain and Portugal, but when you understand it, those Moors were once again Israelites who practiced Islam, right? So we understand we was in rule, man. As the brother bringing out, we was in rule, right? For the time during that time we was in rule, as the brother proving to you, all was down, right? Daily wound, they was down, man, right? And they had to rebirth that Renaissance when they came back into power after those 1,000 years was up. But because that was a good point I want to bring out.
So again, just continue on to prove the point, right? This is Job 9:24. It says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked; he
Mm-hmm.
covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" And we know who that wicked man is, man. That's Esau Edom, right?
Mm-hmm.
The wicked now is being revealed, man. This is also Isaiah 25:7, right? It says, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and
Mm-hmm.
the veil that is spread over all nations, right? Because again, all the nations are what? Drunken with the wine of this place. They're drunken with the wine of Babylon, man.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to what? He has to destroy all that, man. He has to destroy. And again, we know mountains deal with nations or governments, right? And it's talking about Esau Edom, man. He's going to destroy the lives and the strongholds that Esau Edom has on the people,
That covering cash is all the line calling us African Americans, calling us Mexicans, things as such, right?
right? Calling them
Calling us
bywords,
some bywords, things as such. How about see how Shai going to lift that off of us, and we're going to be known by the scriptures say, you should not be reckoned among the people. But that's why it goes to the greatness of salvation, because when how about see how Shai come deliver, they're gonna know who the true Israelites are,
mm-hmm.
right? They're not gonna see no blunt hair so-called white man cracking the sky. Nah, man, it's gonna be the so-called black man, with and they're going to be confused. They're going to be lost. They're going to see so-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called Mexican, so-called natives, being beat up to those chariots, man. There ain't going to be no Esau Edom, right? To the group who, I forget their name, but deliverance only for the Israelites, man. It ain't going to deliverance for no other nations, right? But
Con. So again, Revelation 13:3, it says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
as we seen, Esau was down, right?
Con. It says, and his deadly wound was healed.
As the brother brought out, it's the Renaissance period. So when they come in, those first times years they fall and they down, and the Renaissance period is when they come back into play. And not to go into it, but just to mention it, that goes to the second 1,000 years, right? To where the Renaissance, to the destruction and fall of this place, right? Until we in the kingdom, in those first 1,000 years in the kingdom, we're going to be ruling nations fiercely, right? Because a lot of how about Shia Shai going to be instituted? We're going to rule them fiercely, but after those 1,000 years, the other nations were going to their lands. But Esau, they should not be renowned, man. They done. They're over with. Right? They had their time, right? We can
Con.
continue reading.
Continue on. It says, and all the world wondered after the beast.
Right? So I mentioned the Renaissance, right? When the Renaissance came, that's when, as the brother brought out, that's when their power, that's when they pushed their policies, their ways all back into the earth, right? So now everybody like, boy, hold on, like, who's these people? Like, you know what I'm saying? So all the world wanted after that beast, all the world wanted after NATO EU. They came with a strong power, a strong wave, man, right? And they get that power from Rome. Rome was powerful at that time. So now Rome giving this power into this beast, as we read in verse 13:2, right, which is America, NATO, EU, right? America's in that top seat of the Roman Empire, man, right? So now his ways is back instituted to the world, right? And even I was watching the elder lesson of the elder brothers, going into you know verse 13 for me and the brother went into it, and point hit me when the elder mentioned, how even in school, I remember I was in 6th grade, it was learning about the Renaissance, learning about Roman numerals, their calendars, things that such. And at that time, I used to be like, now I'm trying to learn this, like, I ain't no Roman, like for real. Bro, we used to I had some homegirls, and we used to go to lunch. We used to have tests because that stuff was hard. I ain't gonna lie. So we used to have tests, right? And we had a test, everybody would leave to go to lunch, and one of us would like basically like linger in the classroom. He'd be like, "Hey, close the door when you come out. We leave you to lunch." Man, we'd go get the answer sheet and get the answers to the test. This quick point because I always have to be because I ain't know it, so I always had to be the one who used to have to miss like 3, 4 questions so he wouldn't detect that we was cheating. But we didn't know that. Like he trying to teach us. We in 6th grade. He trying to teach us about Rome and all that. We like, man, come on. But I remember the Renaissance though. I remember talking about the Renaissance. That's when the Romans came back into power. Right. That's why all the world wondered after that beast. Right. That's when the power was given back into that beast. Right. It was given back to Esau. Right. Continue reading on.
It says, verse 4, it says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast.
That dragon is the ancient Roman Empire, and that beast, America, NATO, EU, right?
Con. It says, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
So you understand, you really can't. Only one who can come, only one who's going to destroy this place is Yahweh Shah, right? Psalm 17, hide from them which are your swords or your hand. Yahweh Shah put them in a position that they're in, for a reason. Because it fulfill the left hand side for them, right? So there's no coming against Esau Edom in this place. Not carnally, right? That's why we battling against spiritual wickedness high place. Why we gotta stay focused in the spirit, right? Because we in a spiritual battle. The physical part, how it shall come and destroy this place, right? But ultimately here on this earth, they blessed. That's what they blessing, right? The facts of the earth, right? And the sword, right? That's what they was given unto them, right? And you can't try on what Yahweh Shah said. And the prophecy shows that Yahweh Shah gonna be the one when you understand that Isaac, Yahweh Shah, same spirit who gave him the sword, he's gonna come take it from him.
Con. Like I said, man, like when you think about the beast, right? It's NATO. That's Esau Edom. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So what is America? How is America so proud? They proud that they got what? They think they got the best military. They
Mm-hmm.
got they got the best technology, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So they don't. Nobody feels like anybody can come against Esau Edom, and even if you want to say on the other side when you're dealing with the Russians and so on and so forth, it's all the same things.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 5, it says, there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months.
Con. That 42 months, it was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, right? So they going out deceiving the people, changing the name, changing the ordinance, right? And oh, you get it. I go into the blue letter bar, and I go into that word blasphemies, right? Because you on show you that these people are just they're creating lies and things as such, speaking, they're the opposite of how about Shah. Lying, changing the images, changing the names, telling everybody. Matter of fact, could you grab Wisdom of Solomon 2? I want to say around about verse 12, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm,
Let's see.
I don't know what you want.
Oh, actually 2 and 13, right? 2 and 13. But you can read 12, 12 and 13, right? But I'm gonna read this real fast. The definition of blasphemy. The word is blasphemia, right? And it says slander, detraction, speech injurious to another good name, right? Changing the names of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, changing the names and all that, right? If it's reproachful speech, I mean disrespect, right? Injurious and divine majesty, right? So they're lying. It says right here, blasphemia, uh, vilification, especially against Yahweh, blasphemy, evil speaking against Yahweh Shah, right?
Even two, and I started. Therefore, let us lie and wait for the righteous. It's not for our turn.
So the things that are pleasing to Yahweh Shah are made known unto us. They're opposite of all that. They're adversary. Satan means adversary, the enemy to Yahweh Shah, adverse to Yahweh Shah.
He upbraideth us with our offending the law.
Like,
With our offending the law.
they go against the law, they break the law, things that say, they do all these things, right? But they turn the ordinance, everything upside down, right?
It says, an objective to our infamy and the transgressions of our education.
Telling us we got to go to these schools to learn knowledge and whatnot. You got to be a scholar, things, which you don't. Not me, noble call. When the spirit comes upon you, you're able to understand this truth, man. You don't need no higher education to be able to understand this, you know. But the
Con,
point right here is in verse 13. If the brother ain't got that, know that.
verse 13 says, he professeth to have,
Mm-hmm.
and he calleth himself the child of the Lord.
You see that, and that's that blasphemy, man. Right? Calling themselves, going around saying that they're the Israelites, all these type of things, man. That's that blasphemy. Even speaking of Yahweh Shah, man. Which Yahweh Shah, as the brother brought out, those covering, casting, those things. That's all that's going to be exposed. They've been exposed, right? And in the day of the Lord, everybody gonna see it. Right now, a lot of people don't pay attention to it, up in the miracles that Esau, they're deceived, they're caught up in the ways Esau Edom. But in due time, everybody gonna see it, man. Everybody gonna know it, right? The brother got something you can.
I was putting that in my notes.
Oh, Khan.
But 5 again.
Yeah, Khan.
So going back to Revelation 13, verse 5, it says, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months.
Khan. So that 42 months is 350 years, and me and the brothers meditating in the spirit before we went to the lesson. Searching up and looking at this, right? So It started in 1619 to 1970s, when Abba Bibbins, we understand it, reincarnation, Elijah, right? Brought the spirit of Habashim Hashai came upon him, teaches truth, right? And that's 300 years because in 1619, right? It says in 1619, two pivotal events occurred in the English colony of Virginia. The arrival of the first recorded because we understand it, those people enslaved wasn't Africans, those were Israelites. All right. The first recorded enslaved Africans, reading verbatim, mainland English America at Paint Comfort, making the beginning of race-based slavery, the establishment of the House of Burgess, the first representative legislative assembly in the New World, planting the seed for American democracy. Right. So from 1619, right, to 1970, right, and we were doing the math earlier, right. That's 300 is really from 1619 to 1970 is
50 years.
351 years
Oh
to
yeah.
with 351 years, but that's 350 years, man. So they had a rule because why? The truth is a two-edged sword. As me and brother was talking about earlier, we understand the only reason those winds, Revelation 7, where he say hold those four winds back, the destroying wind, those nukes, those bombs, things as such. The only reason that destruction haven't came yet, because Yahushua Shah said what? Hold it until my the name and the knowledge of how about Shah is sealed in the remnant mind, in their head, right, which is their spirit, right? Understanding when they receive this knowledge, and that's that elect, that 144,000. Once they receive the knowledge, understanding, it's gonna pop off, right? But until then, hold it back. And during this time, we know we're seeing a downfall of this kingdom. We're seeing a downfall of this place. This place is going down here. Esau rule is coming to an end. Yeah, they might think they got it now, but now they can't go out and deceive us and trick us. And 1970, when the truth came back into us, right? Let me read this real fast, brother ain't got nothing.
Kind of got it.
Uh, as we said, the truth came in 1970, about Bibbers, I'm mistaken the spirit of so this Malachi, what might be Micah? Yeah, Malachi chapter 4, right? In verse I was seeing Elijah, the prophet, the coming of the before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord Yahweh. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with the curse. Right? So when that truth came into us, it allowed us to return back to the Father. Right? And that third day we're gonna be raised up. Right? We're going to be the knowledge and understanding will be brought back into us. And when that third day now, it's a patient process. So when the deliverance comes, right? But Esau power is done, man. You see all the tensions and things like that going on, right? Esau power is cooked. It's over with, man. This place is falling. This place is done. The righteous see their fall, so they had a time to go out and deceive and trick and rule. Remember, we was down 350 years. We was going through it bad, but now the knowledge and understanding to us, as we mentioned earlier, this truth is our sword. So now we are ready for battle. Are we fighting in the spirit? How about outside? Now we got this truth. Now we got our weapon, right? Remember, the weapons are not carnal. Spiritual wickedness in high places. Esau, during slavery, they want to control our minds. They want to control what we thought, what we think. That's what they want to do now. That's why they want to come out with that chill, things as such. Right? I mean, the brother of Kakam, I was thinking, or one of the brothers mentioned how, Esau got that thing to where they want to see your dreams and all those type of things. Now they want to see these things, but it's pretty how about Shah. Now we're adopted in through Shah, and now hey, we're back. And now we're just waiting on this place to fall, right? And the kingdom of Habashim Shah been raised up.
Okay. Verse verse 6, right? It says, and he opened his mouth and blasphemed against the Most High, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
So he speak against the name, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, his tabernacle, which is the Israelites, begin with the elect, and then that dwell in heaven, right? The angels, right? As the elder was saying, as the elder was saying, and we was even thinking about it as well, it's even kind of funny how you think about it, right? When you see chariots, UFOs, they say them aliens, things that says, man, them are angels, man. They speak evil, foolish, folly is said at great dignity, man. Folly is said at an all-time high. They speak straight foolish against Yahweh Shah and everything of it, right? So we continue reading.
Verse 7, it says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints.
The saints are, as we brought out earlier, Psalms 148, which are the Israelites, right?
It says, and to overcome them and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
So the facts of the earth, which they was blessed with. Genesis 27, around verse 38, right? They was blessed with the facts of the earth. That's what they were given. If you got something to say on that.
I could read that.
Kind
This is so it's Genesis 27:28. It says, therefore the Most High give thee the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth
mm-hmm.
and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed is he that blessed thee.
Fine. So they was blessed with the facts of the earth. And the main people they was given was the Israelites. So they had us confounded and bound for a long time. But now we're woken up. Right? Baruch chapter 2, we're woken up in the lands like now we brought back to our knowledge and understanding. And that's what the next verse in chapter 13 gonna get into, right?
Verse 8, it says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him.
All the people of Revelation 17, chapter verse 2, Revelation 17 and 18 as we read, Revelation 18, verse 2 on down, right? Everybody's drugging out that fornication of Babylon, these beasts, America, NATO, EU, man. Everybody's caught up in those ways, right?
Starting at the top of verse 8 again, it says, all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, and whose names are not written in the book of the life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
So you understand that everybody gonna fall into the ways except the elect, right? So if you can hold Matthew 24. 24. I grab Romans 8 real fast. So this is Romans 8 and verse 33, right? It says, who shall lay anything to the charge of Yahweh's elect? It is Yahweh that justifies. Who is he that condemneth? It is Hamashiach that died, yet rather that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of Yahweh, who also make intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Hamashiach? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword, as it is written, for thy sake where we are killed all day long, we are counted as a sheep for the slaughter. You understand Yahweh Shah, he was at seat for the slaughter, but we're in that similar process, facing those things. We're not necessarily dying, getting hung on the cross or whatnot, but we facing those things. We die daily to this world. We're in that process, we're in that similar process, man. We going through these things, these hardship, which these things are, none of these things are going to pull the elect away from you, how about Shah, right? It says, nay, in all these things, we are moved, the conquerors, through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principality. And quick point, Yahweh Shah showed us this. When he laid down, he ain't just stop, he ain't stop the will of the Father just because he's gonna die. No, he laid down, he gave him for body, gave up his body for it. And we gotta be ready to do that same thing, man. It says, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any creature, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yahweh, which is in Mashiach, Yahweh Shah, our Lord. Right? So all these people going to fall into the way of these beasts except for the elect, because nothing can pull them away, right, from the love of Yahweh Shah. And you can read that. Another quick precept proves that.
24 and what?
Matthew 24 and verse 24.
This is Matthew 24 and 24. It says, for there shall arise false Hamashiachs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
So everybody, it says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, right? He's doing all these things, he got the power, that he got the allure, right? He got everybody in the disarray, but the elect not falling for it. The elect ain't going for none of it, man. No, ain't nothing gonna pull the elect away. They gonna call all these things, but nothing can pull the elect away. Right? The elect gonna be the ones who stay focused to the end, which are those angels, which were, Ephesians 1 and 4. Right? The same ones who helped Yahweh create this earth.
Straight to the point. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, man. So we know exactly what's going on, man. So of course we know not to love Esau, Edom, and their system and their technologies and they think we're not wild by these things, you know what I'm saying? These things are simple for us, but you know what I'm saying, the world, again, going back to like Revelation 17, so on and so forth, right? They're drunken with that wine, man. They're when you're drunk, you're impaired. You can't see the truth for really what it is. You know what I'm saying? You just doing shit. You doing whatever pleases your flesh, you know what I'm saying, when you're quote unquote intoxicated. You know what I'm saying? You're doing what pleases your flesh, and what pleases your flesh America's going to please your flesh. They're going to cater to whatever you want. You can be anything you want to be in America. You know what I'm saying? You want to be I mean, you can go down the list. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? you know,
uh,
you could do anything you want to do. You know, but
and also Revelation 17 it goes into the scarlet color that's on the beast on the horse as well.
mm-hmm.
That's that costliness, the riches and the things and such that made the people look past the immortality and the wickedness that America has going on. This beast system has going on, right? It makes people look past it, right? You know, because it brings in the money, the things of that such, right? You got these vassal states who give their power to America because they bring in the riches and things of that such, right? But we
kind of
continue reading on.
continuing on, verse 9, it says, "Any man have an ear, let him hear.
Mm-hmm.
He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He
Mm-hmm.
that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints."
So, what what do you think this means? Who led people into captivity? Who, you know, who as we just read, 1619, those 40 and 2 years, 350 years, where was Jake at? In captivity, right? So guess what? Esau Edom, you're going to go into captivity, right? All that killing you've been doing, it's going to come right back on you. It's going to be a recompense. How is going to bring a recompense right back upon you, man?
I was gonna say, even going back to because you had mentioned before camp, like you said, those 350 years, like the scripture saying in what Baruch,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, in the land of their captives, they shall remember themselves. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that, and again, I'm going back in a couple of verses, but in that, what was it 1970s? That's when that began, man. It's all
Mm-hmm.
prophecy, and prophecy must unfold,
Come
right? But again, getting back into to this verse 9 and 10, right? Like it says, you know, he that leave into captivity shall go into captivity. You kill with the sword, you must be killed by the sword. And
Mm-hmm.
what was Esau blessing? The sword.
Sword.
So that's just the way the world works. Esau is going to be destroyed with their blessing, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they were they. I mean, that's been distant since the beginning, right? And I'll read a quick precept. This is Amos 1:11. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof,
Mm-hmm.
because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever, man." So
Mm-hmm.
that's what's gonna have to happen with Esau Edom. What's that? Is that Malachi 1 and 4? Um,
Oh yeah, I'll build it. Would throw down the
is that
my Lord had indignation
yeah,
forever.
kind
Uh,
who they have Indians for? I'm
and even a quick point, I'm
yeah.
glad you mentioned that because made me think of when they said I will build up, and that's how I will build up. You will
Mm-hmm.
build up, I will throw down. Because Jake, Esau was bound, right? So they came back. Oh, we're gonna build up. We're gonna build up this, this beast system, this kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
right? But Yahweh Shah is gonna come throw it down. So they ain't live by the sword. So the sword's gonna come back on them, right? Yahweh Shah, you said to myself, you think I come and bring peace on the earth? Nay, but a sword.
Sword, huh? This is Malachi 1 and 4. It's well, I really started one,
Mm-hmm.
right? It says, "The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi.
Mm-hmm.
I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, Where hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother?
They're not
S-
our brother no more, right?
Con,
They used to be our brother, but they're not our brother no more.
saith the Lord, says, Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and
Mm-hmm.
laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
A
Where
quick point in that,
mm,
Genesis, Genesis chapter 36, where it tells where thing. It's like it's a point. Go to it real fast. It's like Ezekiel 35. Mount Seir is where Esau dwells. It's just 36 tell you where Esau dwell, right? Here's where generations come from, right? Esau Edom. But it's E35 it tell you, verse 2, so the man set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. He said to it, this is the Lord Yahweh. Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee the most desolate. Right? And it was just verses 2 and 3. But as you read the chapter, it's telling you how, because they had perpetual blood against Israel. So Yahweh Shah God going to come destroy them. Right? Lay their mountains waste. They will lay their heritage waste. You're going to destroy them when they're going to be, they're not going to be renowned, man. They're going to leave neither root nor branch. But it's like you tell us.
verse 4, it says, Whereas Edom saith, We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, They shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness. Again, like we said, what was that? Job 9:24. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? That wicked, that's Esau Edom, right? It says, and well, so I'm gonna start from the middle again. It says, "They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever." Man, so it's all that same thing, man. He kept his wrath forever towards Esau, and that's how it's gonna be. That's why they're gonna be enslaved, right? Because like I said, he that leadeth in captivity shall go into captivity. So they're gonna have to be enslaved for 1,000 years also, right? And then they're gonna be done away with after that.
And the quick point is further for how we were talking earlier. Uh, who was bringing in how you know that deadly wound, right? It said in the verse we just read says we were impoverished, but we will build, right? I'll show the definition of the word impoverished. It says impoverished means being reduced to poverty, lacking basic necessities, or being depleted of richness like it, strength or vitality, applying to people, communities, land, or even abstract conceptions like creativity. What does that sound like? Revelation 20, man. Right? They was bound for those 1,000 years. Right? Cast to that bottomless pit, man. They was bound. So no, it was nobody in the world, man. They was in poverty, right? But he said, we're in poverty, now they're gonna come build. Yeah, they got this kingdom. It's blessed with this, right? But guess what? How about Shouts gonna come to destroy this place? He's gonna tear it down. Right? But we can get back to Revelation.
So verse 11, Revelation 13:11, it says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth."
So it's four beasts, right? So you have the Syrians, you have the Syrian who which really was the Babylonians came and took them over with Nebuchadnezzar, right? But that's so you really have the Babylonians, right? The first empire. You have the Greeks. I'm just like you have the Medo-Persians, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Medes came first, but the Persians came very more powerful,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then you have the Greeks, which was the establishment of Esau civilization, right? Then you have the Roman Empire, right? So then the Roman Empire it talks about a little horn that come up out of that Roman Empire, right? Which is that little horn is America, right? And as I mentioned earlier, where it says Revelation 13:2, read this real fast. It says, and the dragon was the Roman Empire, the beast, right, gave his power and seat, gave him his power and seat in his authority. So this is where the beast gets his power from, the Roman Empire, right? The ancient Roman Empire. This beast NATO. NATO is the time where reborn. When was the Roman Empire reborn? Through the Renaissance, right? So this beast, this little horn, is talking about America. America is in that power seat of the rise Roman Empire. This is the rise Roman Empire here today, right? So we can, if you got some on it, you can.
Yeah. Just going into Daniel 7, right? So again, I'm read verse 7 again. So it's Daniel 7:7. It says, "And after this I saw the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue of with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns."
10 represent the European Union.
It says, "I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn before."
It's like a quick point. It's like you
Con,
say this to me to cut you off.
con,
But back then you had those and Rome had those 10 horns too, right? I read this real fast. Back then you had 10 European nations that was in league with Rome, but today those 10 horns represent the European Union, right? And we understand it's gonna get into how America mimics everything with Rome because Rome, that's where this beast gets his power from. NATO EU, that's where it gets his power from. But it's like we continue reading that.
con,
Verse 8.
yeah, yeah.
All
So beginning verse 8 again, it says, "I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, where before it's like it. Before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots,
mm-hmm.
and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and the mouth speaking great things." So again, saying that little horn being who? That's Babylon the Great. That's America, right? And those three horns, that's the French, the Spanish, and the British. Which out of the British came what? The 13 colonies that started
Mm-hmm.
America, right? When you got what was it, the Revolutionary War, when they seceded from Britain, so-called seceded from Britain, so on and so forth, right? That's where this came out. That's where that little horn came out of. It came out of
Mm-hmm.
those three that were plucked up by the roots, right? And then it said, continue on, it says, "And behold, in this horn were like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things, right?
That wisdom, that blasphemy, the miracles, all those things that Esau, has. That the fierceness, right? They just, you know, look at Trump. This is a perfect example. He just going over there to Venezuela do what he do because the military that America has, right? The military might they have, so they just pop off at anybody. They just go, do what they want to do. They got they're smart, With now it's increasing that they smart. They got all these weapons, all these type of things, right? I was with my brothers yesterday, and they were just talking about how if you see how they went in so smooth to Venezuela, like it's craft and cunning, man. That serpent, they went in so smooth. They said like the one jet just came in easy without no type of rebuttal or nothing. Just how smooth they came in, man. You know.
So going back to Revelation 13 and reading verse 11 again, right? It says, "And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon."
So as we showed you, is another beast is talking about America, right? And those two horns is Democrat and Republican. Right, that lambs how they speak as if they care in a soft manner, as if they got care about you, if they got your best interest in mind. But it says that he spake as horns like a lamb. That's that soft manner. But he spake as a dragon, the draconian law, the draconian way, this draconian system, man. Right? How harsh and evil it is. Probably got someone in as well.
Kind of just a precept of that. This is Psalms 55 and 21. It
Mm-hmm.
says, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart, and his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords." Man, so again, that's how your politicians speak, right? And that's always been the thing, man. When it comes to America, you always got the people of America that say, "Well, they said they was gonna do this, they said they was gonna do that." Of course they did. They speak, they seem like a lamb. You know what I'm saying? They seem like they're all for you. They're gonna help you, yada yada yada. But we know at the end of the day, they're there to get a job done. You know what I'm saying? They just need to get in a position of power, man. But the citizens of this place are dumb. But was that's all you had on that?
Yeah, Revelation 13:11. Yeah, So mention how that beast is America, right? And he had two horns like a lamb. Two horns once again. The Democrat republics, right? And like a lamb. The lamb is that soft manner, but the draconian law, his draconian ways. The precept the brother brought out, right? So we had verse 12.
Con. So verse 12, it says, "And he exercised," or Revelation 13 and 12, it
Mm-hmm.
says, "And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him."
Con. Quick point. This is why this truth. Especially when you seek this truth. As you seek his truth, you will really understand how by saying outside. Because it's really plain, right?
Plain
So
to the holy.
we telling you how you know this beast get their power from really going back to Revelation 3 and 2 again, and the dragon, which is the ancient Roman Empire, gave him his power, his seat, his great authority. Daniel 7 and verse 7, we just read you how the Roman Empire was strong and steely. It was a powerful, diverse, right? And through that Renaissance is when this what this beast system, America, NATO, EU, it gets his power from. It gets because Rome was powerful back then, but now America's coming through. They're coming through on that now, and it's getting that power from that first beast, which is the Roman Empire, right? And he exiled all the power of the first beast before him, right, which is the Roman Empire, right, and causes the earth and all of that dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed, right? So when the Renaissance came in, that's when they enforced all their policies and ways. When you go to First Maccabees 8:15, when they create the Senate House, the voting, the tributary, the taxing, America do all that because why? That's the same thing that Rome does. This is the revised Roman Empire today, right? This is the exact thing that Rome had going on, right? Reincarnation with Trump, that's Nero, man, right? Look at the way Nero moving. Look at the way Nero was moving back then, causing people to uproar, coming at the people, which called the Jewish rebellion, revolt, whatever you want to call it, which led to Jerusalem end up being taken down took him down. Look at Trump now, causing uproars, causing people to, it ain't nothing new under the sun, man. It's all plain and simple. But he exercised the power of that first beast. That's talking about the Roman Empire, because America mimics all the ways of that Roman Empire, man. Right, little brother got something on that.
It's really just that the brother really broke it down perfectly. Because, like I said, he exercises all the power of the beast before him. So everything that, like we said earlier, Rome covered basically the whole Eastern Hemisphere
Mm-hmm.
back in those days. So what did America do? That horn that came out of it, they took that same power, and now what? You got America really influencing the entire world, which
Con.
again goes back into like the scripture saying, man, that these nations are drunk with that wine, man.
Mm-hmm.
What's it say? They're in bed with this place. They're fornication, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
in bed with America, man, because America has all of that all of that power.
Con. And that deadly wound was healed when this place is established. This was that Renaissance. Then that established America. Because America's that enterprise, right? America's that enterprise that they needed, to get it going. Because remember, Europe, they lack their bottomless pit. That this European nation that's carrying America, that's that bottomless pit. They lack the resources, the mineral things that such. So they had it. They needed an enterprise to establish it. That's why they came over here, and stole the land from Jake. They took the land from Jake. Took land from Gad, doing these things, right? Enslaving the people, raping the people, doing all these things, man. Come on, man, right? This is, man. This is it's going to be a recompense upon it, but this truth is here for a reason. There's a reason how about Yahweh allow the truth to get back to it, because now we understand it. So now Esau Edom been revealed. So now he can't trick and deceive the people much more. No, now you have a lot of Jake who lost, right? Who caught up in his word, but the elect, as we read earlier in verse 8, the elect ain't going for that. They're not falling for that, because now we see it. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, that son of perdition, that man of sin, he's revealed, right? But
Continuing on, Revelation 13:13,
mm-hmm,
it says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven
mm-hmm.
on the earth in the sight of men."
his bombs, his missiles, his technology to create these drones that go over and drop bombs. All the time. But come on, man.
Kind,
Esau, got smart. But,
nobody has ever dropped atomic bombs but America.
mm-hmm.
It never been done before, and it hasn't been done since. When they dropped those 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki,
Was they Fat Man and Little Boy? The names of them always kill me.
kind,
What was the names of the bombs on Japan? Right here, the name was crazy. Yeah, Little Boy and Fat Man. Those are the names of the bombs they dropped on.
they dropped atomic bombs on Japan, and
Mm-hmm.
again, it hasn't been that had never been done, and it hasn't been done since, man. But those are those like you said, I'm gonna read it again. It says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he make a fire come down from heaven." That's that fire that comes down from heaven, man. And
Mm-hmm.
again, like I said in the beginning of this lesson, this is Paul describing these things the best way he knows how, the best way he can. To
Called
with
Pastor John.
Oh, Salakia. The Apostle John, right? Saying these things the best way he can, man, from using the things that they knew back then, right? Because you could only he wouldn't know how to say atomic bomb, you know what I'm saying? So this
Mm-hmm.
is like fire coming from heaven, man. But
So I got a quick precept. The
kind
elder Pastor Romla went into this a little while ago because the guy who made the atomic bomb, he said something like, "I become the death destroyer of the world," because when he figured out what was going on, because now the scriptures tell you the wars back then, it was fought with swords. You hear clanging and noise, all that type of thing. But this war is gonna be fought with nuclear, nuclear power, nuclear missiles. This war gonna be a nuclear war, man. World War III is gonna be a war that's is different. It's gonna be a different type of war, right? This is Isaiah 54:17. I mean, it's like in 16, right? And you understand how about how Shah allowed them to create these missiles and create these things, because all these things they building is ultimately leading up to the prophecy where how about Shah said, to where they're gonna Armageddon, they're gonna fight against each other, right? And then how Shah's gonna come wipe them out, right? So this
kind
Isaiah 54:16 says, "Behold, I have created a smith that blow up the coals in the fire." The smiths create weapons, things that such, right? But the modern day smiths are who? The scientists, right? It says, "And that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. I have created the waster to destroy." Right? And that's talking about the atomic bombs, these ICBM missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? They created all these things. The technology has went up. The modern day Smith or these scientists, they put these atoms together to create all these bombs and these wasters and things of that such, man, right? Which eventually in that day, real quick, Isaiah 9, when I say in verse 5, it says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, swords clanging, yelling, things that such, right? It says, and garments rolled in blood, stab somebody, blood going all over, right? But it says, but this shall be with burning and full of fire. So this war is going to be a burning with full of fire. What does that mean? these atomic bombs dropping, right? He makes all these bombs drop. These have these drones going over to drop missiles and things that such, man. Right? Yo, that's what Esau was blessed with, right? With some same things he was blessed with, they're gonna come back on him. Lead to captivity, should go into captivity. Kill the sword, must be killed with the sword. Yeah.
This is Isaiah 14 and straight to the point. 16, it says, they that see thee, and again, like it said, in Revelation 13 and 13, it says, maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, right? So back to Isaiah 14 and 16, he said, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, man? How did he do that again with these bombs, man? They you know, that's how you shake up the earth. But my lights come on. But kind of continuing on, unless you had more.
Okay, now we good.
Kind of verse 14, 13, Revelation 13 and 14, it said, and deceive of them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had to do, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live.
So we understand that, America mimics all the ways that arise from empire, right? And so now they're going out into the world to enforce this policy, and in their and just their ways, their policies, everything about them, right? And how they do these things, right? They says deceive them inside of those and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had the power to do, right? So you go to Revelation 16 and 13, right? Actually, I'll read verse 13. He says, and I saw three unclean spirits like the frogs coming out of the mouth of the dragon, right? So you have the military might, right, which is the Pentagon, Langley, Virginia. You have the city London states, like the financial headquarters. And you have the Roman Catholic Church, right? Those it's like it. No. That's the false prophet. The unclean spirits is the. Let's see if I can remember it. So I know it's the Langley, Virginia headquarters, right? You have the financial headquarters. Then you have there's one more. Financial headquarters, which is London, UK. Then you have the London City States, right? I forgot what the London City State Elder Foster Rumley, when he broke this down, I forgot of the London City States, because they come out of the mouth of the dragon. I know it's Langley, Virginia, the Pentagon, that's their military headquarters. London, UK, the financial headquarters. Then the London City States. That's where the Rothschild does. Well, I'm trying to see. Basically, I want to say that's where they.
London is the financial capital.
I want to say the London City States is where like the basically like the command center. I want to say something like in that aspect, right? And Lord willing, study more on that and go into that, Lord willing, the Spirit lead us and go into Revelation 16 breakdown, right? But it continues going on. It says out of the mouth of the beast, right? Which you know in NATO EU, right? And it says out of the mouth of the false prophet. The false prophet is the Roman Catholic Church, right? And it says for they are the spirits of devils, right? We understand it. The Vatican cities were the I think is that what it is? Vatican City. I gotta study them, but Vatican City,
that's where
the Roman Catholic Church is, and the word Vatican, the verb Baptiste, meaning prophet, and then let me go to my notes. And then I know the can, I mean, is the Mayan word for serpent, right? Let me see. So you got the word vati, because of the Latin word vatis, which means prophet, right? And can is the Mayan word for snake. So they're prophets of the serpent, prophets of the snake. That's what these people are, right? It says, for they're the spirits of devils working miracles, right? Which go forth to the kings of the earth and the whole world to gather them together to the battle of that great day of the Almighty. So they're blessed to do these miracles. And one of their main miracles today is the technology, right? The technology, AI, all these type of things, right? They have the to do these things, the power to do these things, which wow the people, which put the people in a shock, like, dang, but these gotta be the children of Yahweh Shem. These got to be chosen people, man. These got to be something. Anyway, these people, how these people able to do all these things? And these people deceive. Esau, deceived the people with those miracles and with those things, man. Right? How the people believe in them, thinking that they're the righteous, thinking that they're, the chosen people. Right? So, okay, we can go back to Revelation 13.
So it's Revelation 13 and
What we at?
15.
Mm-hmm.
It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that
Mm-hmm.
the image of the beast should both speak
Mm-hmm.
and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So they get down, and lay down. They enforce. Once that Renaissance started, and once that Renaissance came back, and their agenda, their whole plan was, power was forwarded out to the earth again. Either gonna get down, lay down with their ways. There's no coming up against this place, right? You know, with us teaching this truth, we prophesying against the whole kingdom, man. Prophesying against the whole people, where they can, dang near any point, try to come against it and use you speaking against this place against you. Hey, you speak against this place again, such happen to you. But hey, we ain't scared of it, right? But it says that he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, right? Boosting it up. He got the power to deceive people. He got the power to make everybody fall in love with that. It says that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And that's self-explanatory, man. You go against this, since you go against this place, they gonna, hey, you know what type of time they gonna try to come on, right?
Verse 16,
Mm-hmm.
right? It says, and he causes all,
Mm-hmm.
both small and great, rich and poor,
Mm-hmm.
free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
And this going into the mark of the beast, right? The RFID chip, man, right? And that's that them wanting to be in that God like them wanting to have that God like status. They want to control everybody. They want to know what you doing, know what you buy, knowing it's the new world order, man. That chip. They insert that chip in, they can track you, all type of thing. You know how you have a birth certificate, you're not gonna need none of that no more. Cause everything gonna be in that chip. You know how you go to the as what's his name, Bishop Nathaniel was saying, the Marcus Beast is your phone. You know how you go to the storage your phone and you use the chip to pay? No, you ain't gotta do that no more. You just put your hand up there, put your wrist up there, man. They trying to implant a chip within you, right? Wherever you get it at, They gonna try to. I think it's what's that? UK they been implanting it
Yeah,
already,
people is
right?
the Neuralink, right? And
Mm-hmm.
even like places like Whole Foods, right? You can already use the palm of your hand to pay. Because you know, it's one thing to know about it, to know that it's in parts of the world, but it's another thing to see it with your own eyes, man. I had went into a Whole Foods one time. They have a system where you can pay with the palm of your hand. So you think it's not technology? It continues to advance, right? So you don't think that when they advance to the palm of your hand, now they just gonna put a chip in your hand. It's gonna make it easier that way. That's gonna be the way
Mm-hmm.
you get in and out of places. So on and so forth. As we continue on to read verse 17, I'll go ahead and read verse 17.
I got a definition of the mark. It says it's the charagma, right?
Okay.
Strong's G 5480. Charagma. Charagma.
The charagma, right? It says a stamp and imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of followers of the anti-Hamashiach, right? So when you take this beast, or it's like when you take this chip, you're going against Yahushua. This is the mark of the beast, man. This system, this beast system, they want to take that chip so they can basically own you at that point. Basically you giving it to them. Revelation 18:6 tell you there's no repentance. Well, not six. What is that right verse? I know Revelation 18, right? But it's no there's no repentance for this chip. There's no coming back from that. You take this chip, man, you're done, right?
Okay. Again, verse 17, it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark
Mm-hmm.
or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So like the brother was saying, this is them branding you. This is you they're marking you as their property. You belong to
Mm-hmm.
that beast system, right? You have when you when you take that MOTB, you have now said I do, I comply with Babylon. I comply
Mm-hmm.
with that with the great whore, with the beast, right? I don't belong to Yahweh Shem Shai. That's essentially what you're doing. So that's again, you cannot take that, because like the brother was saying, there is no repentance for it, right? You can't come back from um from that mark, right? There is no, like I think, if I'm not mistaken, IUIC, they said you can repent for it. You know what I'm saying? If it like if it they said if it were to be, like the MOTB, you can repent for it, which we know you cannot. Right? That's not how that works, man. That's the ultimate that's the ultimate sin, But
I'm gonna go to that precept real fast in Revelations, proving that this is Revelation. It's like it. I said we said 18. It's 14. It's like it. 14, starting at verse 8. He says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of indignation. We used to sit down the other day going into those who have not, those who have certainly drunken, right? Because we don't supposed to drink of that cup. Esau can't skip that cup. They're gonna have to drink it double, fill it double. They're gonna have to swallow it all, right? Ain't no getting away from it. But if you give in to those ways and follow those ways with them, guess what? Michael 2:10. It's gonna be a sure destruction for you, man. Right? It says, the saints shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. That righteous judgment, which the brother brought out, this Malachi 1:4, which the Most High have that indignation unto the Esau Edom, and shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and the presence of the Lamb. Because when Yahweh shall come, they're going to come destroy this place, man. The chariots going to be beaming this place up. Hey, 2/3, and these other nations are going to be getting cooked up, man. They're going to be getting done away, man. Going to be the rays from the chariots going to be beaming up and all that. Even the after, and it's going to be, you're going to have World War III, you're going to have that aftermath, then you're going to have Yahweh shall coming down, turn them up. Because they gonna turn and Mr. World War III, Yahweh Shai gonna come, they gonna turn and start fighting against him. They gonna come together, start fighting, and it's trying to come against him. You know, that's Esau, whole objective. Try to fight for eternal life. They know what they trying to do, man. You know, but I know the others mentioned earlier about when they try to go up into the heavens. Yahweh Shai, the truth came, right? They try to go to the heaven, which you can't. Come on, man.
trying to send satellites and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it ain't gonna work. You can't reach to the Father, man. They know they trying to do it, man. The scriptures say they don't exalt themselves about anything that's called God. They know they whole objective, and the Yahweh Shai is revealing that, through the prophets, through the teachers, right? He's revealing that, man. Right, but
You can read the next verse too.
you talking about Revelation 14?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and this is verse 11. It says, "And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, whosoever receives the mark in his name."
So like it say, man, you're not gonna have rest. You're not gonna be able to get away from whatever judgment you got Yahweh Bashim Yahushua gonna have for you, and you know what I'm saying, in those days.
Another quick point, and that smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, meaning this place gonna be desolate. This place gonna be done away with, right? Anybody else who will try to line with this place gonna be done, right? Also, we know that the elect is gonna be not elect. Israel gonna be reborn again and the kingdom through the elect seed. But during that time, you're gonna face that torment with them. And this place is gonna be done away with forever. That smoke that's going up forever. That don't mean you're just gonna, like in the movies, you look back and the smoke still burning. Nah, this place is gonna be done over with. That's Isaiah 34.
Kind of like I said, this place gonna be a wasteland,
Mm-hmm.
But that's all you done. Kind of
Con.
continuing on with the last verse, right? Verse 18. It says, "Here is wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast,
Mm-hmm.
for it is the number of a man." Right. So what does this mean? This is the number of a man, not some spiritual demon like the people will have you think this is just the spiritual demon Satan, so on and so forth, and that's it. No, it says it's the number of a man, right? This is the man in the flesh. Now, who is this man? We're talking about Esau Edom,
Mm-hmm.
right? It says that his number is 600 and 6. So again, we're talking about Esau Edom here, man. This is the number of a man. So when you go through the scriptures, right, you got to be able to identify who these people are, and throughout this whole chapter, we have clearly identified who is the wicked, who is um like we've identified who's the sons of the Most High, the sons of man, and the sons of the wicked, right? The sons of the Most High, who? That's Israel, right? The sons of man, those are the nations. Then you got the sons of the wicked. That's Esau, Edom.
And also identify to you that what Russia is going to be the downfall of this demonic kingdom, man. This wicked kingdom. This place is demonic and evil. And how about seeing outside? Ezekiel 38, he's gonna put his verse 13 and 2, you know, leopard, like beats a leopard in the feet of a bear. That bear, Russia is gonna be a downfall of this place. And one other quick point, the brother brought out a while ago when we was reading that exact precept, had these animals align with the symbols of these nations.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go to the leopard, the Greeks, you know, what he used to wear, a
Yeah,
leopard coat on his head.
Alexander. When you go into it, Alexander the Great, right? Or Alexander the Greek, right? He used to wear like a leopard's hide, when he used to go into battles. So
Mm-hmm.
and so. Like if you look up, just again, you gotta do your research, man. When you look up
Mm-hmm.
in when you look up things on the internet, you'll see like he's often like he has statues with with the leopard on, or there's images with him with the leopard skin, like with the leopard's hide.
I just want to show you this, right? Russian symbol animal. What that say? You can see it. Probably a little too high. So it's probably a little blurry.
Not that damn.
It's lucky. Clearly because you read it. But I want you to see it for yourself. You know? What that say? The Eurasian bear. Come on, man. It's there. Right? When you search up the symbol line for I said the symbol. I said it. The symbol animal for Great Britain. I am, man.
It's that what's it called? They call it the griffin. The griffin.
Mm-hmm.
You know that it's like the symbol of that lion that's like sitting there. It's the griffin.
Come on, man. It's
Or
plain.
like America. It's named itself as what? The eagle. They love the bald eagle. That's a felony. You kill a bald eagle, that's a felony.
Right. And I had searched this up as well. Um. So right. So I searched up 600 3 score and six. Right. So it says 600 3 score and six is in. I don't want to say that word.
Arcade.
Archaic phrase from the King James Bible meaning 666. Where 3 score equals 60, 320s translating to 600 plus 60 plus 6. It is famously known for the number of the beast, which is American, NATO, EU, and Book of Revelation, symbolizing the ultimate human imperfection and often linked historically to Emperor Nero. I'm going to go down to the biblical and symbolic meaning. Book of Revelation is presented as a number of a man, right? Revelation 13:8. The mark of the beast represented a system opposed to Yahweh, right? This system adversary, right? Satan mean adversary. They adverse. This system is this system is opposed to. It's not nothing of Yahweh. This system is the total opposite what Yahweh want. That's what Satan come out here to do. The devil's work. The total opposite of what Yahweh want us to do, man. Right? They're contrary to our doings, right? Imperfection. In biblical numerology, 7 signifies perfection. So 6 being one number short represents human failure. 3 sixes denotes complete sinful and incompleteness, a stark contrast to divine perfection. When you go Second Ezra 6 verse 7 is telling you how this age, which is this wicked, sinful place, is gonna be destroyed, and the new age is gonna come, the new age of righteousness, which is the kingdom of Yahweh. It says historically, many scholars interpret 666 as a code for Nero Caesar, the Roman emperor, using gematria, assigning numbers to letters. In modern culture, 666 has become a widely recognized symbol for an antichrist, Satan, or evil in general, appearing frequently in art, literature, and popular culture, man. Right? So, hey, this is the devil, man. This is what he is. This is his number, man. 666, man. It's the devil, man. You know what it is, right?
This is I looked this up on Gemini, which is AI, right? And I asked him, I said, who is the man in Revelation 13 and 18 talking about? This is the number of a man, right? It says the historical view. It says many modern historians, scholars believe that the man was the Roman Emperor Nero,
Mm.
because it's when you it says with the gematria, it says in ancient times letters had numerical values, a practice called gematria. When you transliterate Nero Caesar into Greek from Greek into Hebrew, it says the letters add up exactly to 600 3 score and 6, and we know Nero to be who? Trump. You know what I'm saying? So that that's just a faith booster. But that's all I got on that. You had something else?
No, that was really it, man. That was really it. Uh, right. So Lord willing, once more with the other brothers as well, handle things getting it done. But Lord willing, we're gonna try to start going into more breakdowns and because Revelation, that's a prophetic book. It's all
Uh-huh.
prophecies throughout the book.
Like I
But
said earlier, man, Yahweh Shah comes in the spirit of prophecy.
and that's how we're gonna overcome this place. And understand, like the brother, brother, harking on a little bit. The mark of the beast is something you can't turn back from, man. That's a big thing. So, again, Revelation 13, Apostle John, he was on the island of Patmos as a prisoner, and how it's like he was showing him these things, and he seen the rise and fall of this place, all the way down to the mark of the beast, man. And so, it's down to RFID chip, so seeing that he wrote it down so that we can be, hip and come on to it, because once again, we're gonna overcome this place, and through that, that's how we're gonna overcome this place, and we ain't gonna escape that second death, which Revelation 20 talks about. Those who had a second death had none effect, man. So, well willing, right? This lesson was edifying and exalting, right? And we want to give all honor and glory to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash.
double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who taught us the truth, and the whole elect started with the 144,000. Shalom.
Shalom.